Hi, Therapy Together families. We are on week 5. Great job on getting through the first half of the program. We're moving into week 5, and we are talking about cerebral palsy and continuing to work on the upper limb domain of holds and grasps. So to get started, the definition of cerebral palsy is that it refers to a group of disorders in the development of motor control and posture, occurring as a result of a non-progressive impairment of the developing central nervous system. The motor disorders of CP can be accompanied by disturbances of sensation, cognition, communication, perception, and/or seizure disorder. So the term cerebral palsy is really an umbrella term that can present in different ways, but the primary diagnostic feature is that there's an injury to the brain that happens either before birth or shortly after birth, usually classified within the first year or 2 years of life. That means that the injury that happened to the brain is not progressive, so it stays the same and it doesn't worsen over time. You may see features of your child change as they grow and develop, and then as they move into the teen years, you can continue to see different changes as a result of CP, but the actual injury that happened to the brain remains the same. So motor or movement is the primary clinical feature of cerebral palsy. Other components can also be associated that were listed here. So sensation, the ability to touch or to feel, cognition, communication, perception, either visual or auditory, and then as well as some kids will have seizure disorder associated with cerebral palsy. That's really the main definition. We just want to share that with you. If nobody that you've worked with, or even when you received the diagnosis, maybe you didn't have a true working definition of what cerebral palsy is, and that it really is an umbrella term and can present in a variety of different ways. The other thing you see here on the screen, the cerebral palsy, the 6 F words for CP. So this was developed by Peter Rosenbaum, who's a developmental pediatrician in Canada, works with CanChild. You can see their logo down there at the bottom. They have a tremendous amount of great resources online. If you are interested in learning more about CP, go to the CanChild website. But really trying to shift the focus from impairment and what is difficult for the child to what do we want the child to be able to do. So we want them to be able to function or do things as independently as they can. We want them to enjoy time with their family. We want them to have the opportunity for some type of fitness, for them to be able to make friends, for them to have fun, and to think about and plan for their future as they move forward and grow and develop. And so, especially with occupational therapy, or if you're working with a developmental pediatrician, these are the things we really want to focus on while we talk to you about your goals that you have for your child, and things for you to think about as well as you help your child grow over these next several years. Okay, so for week 5, we continue to work on holds and grasps. So I'll go through the levels for you one more time. Level A, you're working on pre-grasping skills. So that may be like in a pot of beans. They're just flicking them or moving them around or doing a scrunch type motion. This can be done with ribbon, any of the sensory buckets, beans, rice, water beads, where they can just kind of explore and do some of those raking type motions is a great way to work on a level A. Being able to maintain hold of an object. So if you place something in their hand, that they would keep it in their hand. And you may do some hand over hand where they're banging on things, they're banging together, they're looking at it. Maybe it spins or lights up, but they're maintaining the hold of the object once it's placed in the hand. They can also work on if they can get it to hold, to move it around, to show people, again, to bang, to knock things over is a great way to work on hold. For level B, they're working on grasping from an easy position. So it'll always be easier for the child to grasp from you than it will be from a surface. So if I know the child's going to open their hand and close it like this, I'm going to present the item from an easy position. So all they have to do is that. I don't want to present it like this because then it kind of becomes awkward. They would have to rotate their forearm to be able to grasp it the way that they would want to. So however they present their hand, you can bring the item close to it and then orient it for them. Once they are able to do that, you can start to change the orientation a little bit so that maybe they usually go here, you change it just a little bit so that they are having to change how they grasp the item. For level C, you're working on grasping items from the table. It's always harder to pick it up from the table than from another person. So work on grasping from the table, and then you can begin to work on the smaller grasp pattern. So this is what we would call a gross grasp or a whole hand grasp. This would be a 3-jaw chuck or a tripod grasp. So getting this side of the hand to work different from this side of the hand is a key component to that. So you may see them do this in the beginning. Encourage them to tuck those fingers down if they can. If you're just getting this, that's okay too. But if they can get those down, that's great. And then you can move to a pincer or a 2 thumb and finger grasp as well. And again, once they start working on different grasp patterns, go back to that easy position where you're aligning it for them and then they can get it, versus having to get it off of a table surface is much more difficult. If they're doing pretty well with all of those things, the next step would be to work on catching a moving item. So you can roll a ball to them, a marble, things that they have to really motor plan and see the speed and where it's going, and then have to plan that movement quickly to be able to grasp something. So I hope you're enjoying the program. That's what we'll be working on this week. It's Dinosaur Week, so all things dinosaurs as we work on hold and grasp. Thanks so much.